Okay. Welcome to another CoopCast. I'm Jeff Kapp, and this show we have Bill Henderson. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you on. So, Bill, which breeds do you have now in pigeons?
At this time, I just have old German Owls. It's gluten-free.
Just old German Owls. And when you first got into pigeons, how many years ago was that?
Well, I was 7 years old. I was given my first pair of pigeons by a man named Sam Shadid, who is in the old Deep Pigeon by Wendell Levi in Jacksonville, North Carolina. He was an immigrant that had a bunch of Syrian breeds, and he lived down the street from my grandmother. And he gave me a pair of pigeons, a pair of what was called Sabuni tumblers, and that was the start when I was 7. I'm going to turn 73 next month, so I've had them ever since. Other than a couple of years when I was in college, I've literally had them my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, really interesting.
Yeah.
And I never would have guessed you were turning 73.
Well, I am.
You look like you're only turning maybe 60.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, but trust me, I am.
So you now have just old German Owls?
Old German Owls.
Okay, and how long have you had old German Owls for?
I think about 15 years now. Previously to that, I was real involved with West of England tumblers, which is a great breed, a lot of great breeders. But I started having some issues with the dust, pigeon dust. In fact, I'll put a mask on here in a little while. And West of Englands have a muff, and so to keep them in show condition, I had to use a litter all the time, which created a lot of dust. And so I started looking around for a clean-leg breed that I could enjoy, and stumbled across the old German Owl, and have had them ever since. They went from my second breed to my primary breed.
Nice, very
nice. I love them.
Nice. So what colors do you have in the old German Owls?
Now I'm primarily working on ash red and ash yellow and bars and checks in the past, and I still have some blue family that pop out of the ash reds that carry well. But over the time, the 15 years, I've kind of bounced around within mostly bars and checks. But now it's primarily ash red and yellow.
And how many pairs would you have every year, roughly?
I try and limit it to 8 pairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a pretty small, well, I have a large enough loft, but it's my personality to just keep small numbers and try and raise 40 babies or so a year, and it's just my mindset to have smaller numbers.
Now, for the new people getting into raising pigeons, what advice could you give someone just getting in? A new member joins the Old German Owl Club. They just got a pair of Old German Owls. What's the best advice you would give them to start off with?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. We have a very friendly club. We have a very helpful club. I'm going to add this. Before I had West of England tumblers, I was involved with American Show Racers, which was a great breed. I did very well in them, but it was a breed that was very hard to get involved with. Very difficult. You had to pay considerable money. This is 30 years ago, but you had to pay $100, $150 just to get a mediocre bird, and it was really hard to gain ground in it. When I started raising West of Englands, it was just the opposite. People were willing to help you. You could buy a really nice pigeon for $25. They were encouraging. There was a lot more parity. It was just an entirely different mindset. And I'm happy to say that for the most part, the Old German Owl Club has been the same way. That sort of mentality of welcoming new people, answering questions, and that's how somebody learns. You have to attend shows. It's great to look on the Facebook page and look at pictures and all that, but seeing birds in person and talking to breeders that have had them and done well with them, you can save yourself a lot of time by just asking. There's no such thing as a dumb question.
True, that is true. Yeah. That is true. So, someone gets into the breed, they got their first pair, they attend a couple of shows. breeding season rolls around. It's now March, April timeframe, depending on where they live in the United States. What advice could you give to someone that's ready to raise their first young?
Yeah.
I mean, for either health conditioning or just cleanliness of their loft. I mean, what advice would you give that person?
I personally, and I live in the southeast, we have very high temperatures and very high humidity. So I have to be conscious of that. Where somebody like yourself lives up in the northeast, you have an entirely different set of circumstances to deal with. One, I don't think you can give them enough room. I think we all tend to overcrowd, and I think that causes issues. A pair of pigeons needs a reasonable amount of space. In my mind, they need at least 6-8 square feet of loft space where they can do their thing and mate and not be disturbed. As far as the health is concerned, pigeons do well on a variety of seeds. You can get pigeon food from a number of suppliers. As long as it's a good balanced ration, they'll be fine. I do use some additives in the water, supplement vitamins.
Okay.
I use a product called Perfect Pigeon, or Perfect Water, that is sold by Foy's, and it's a vitamin supplement, and also it's an acidifier. It keeps the pH low in the loft, and that keeps bacteria in check. So that's, I don't think you need to make it complicated. I don't like to medicate much. I do medicate 3 times a year for canker, because I think it's always there underlying. But I don't use any antibiotics unless I have some problem that pops up.
Okay. And then once that new breeder, the eggs hatch, the parents start taking care of their young. Is there any advice on that?
This is relative to the old German owl and a few other show breeds. Unfortunately, when you breed for show qualities, just like in dogs or horses or whatever, you can impact some of the hardiness or around qualities. With old German owls, they do tend to want to go back down on eggs a little quicker than I would like for them to. When the babies get about a week or 10 days old, I have on occasion supplemented the feeding. It's easy to do. You just get a game bird chow or chicken young bird for chick feed at a Tractor Supply or whatever, and I mix it with warm water and a ketchup squirt. I mix about 40% of chow and 60% warm water, not hot. I shake it up real good and a ketchup squirter, and it gets to be kind of thick, but still running. And I've snipped the tip off of the ketchup squirter so that the hole is about 1/4 of an inch. And it is so easy with owls because they have the wide beaks, and I just open it up and just squirt them in the evening. Just make sure it's down past the little windpipe. And it's so easy to do. I probably do it more often than I need to, because I like for my pigeons to be tame. I spend a lot of time with them. And it works real well for them. So I'm not saying you should do it. But if you notice that the parents are sort of losing some interest in it, and not feeling quite as good as they do, and it happens with a lot of show breeds. They've lost some of their parental qualities. Then I will supplement that.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you for that. So we're here at the National Young Bird Show this year. That's the backdrop here that everyone's seeing behind us right now. Besides this show, what other shows do you attend and show at?
Well, this is my very favorite show, and then I make an effort every year to go to the Grand National, the National Pigeon Association National, and it's getting harder to get to them now because it's difficult you can't fly with birds anymore. It's excess baggage. You have to make arrangements to get them there and back, or just not take pigeons, just go and attend. But I love that show. I think it's the backbone of the hobby, that one and this one. And then I try and attend at least one or two other shows, regional shows, that I can get to within a reasonable drive. This year I'll go to Des Moines. In fact, I'm judging at the Des Moines show, which is a great all-breed show. Then went to Lancaster last year. That's an excellent all-breed show. I sort of pick and choose where the competition's going to be, where I know my buddies are going to be. You know. Yeah. Because the camaraderie is the biggest plus to this hobby.
You're leading me into the next question. Perfect. So, this is a hobby then that you will meet new people and make a lot of friends, correct?
My closest friends are pigeon buddies that I've made over the years that live in California or live in Michigan or Connecticut or whatever. Two guys I travel with, Jay Turner and Jim Armstrong, we're the Three Musketeers. Jim and I have been friends for 50 years, literally. And Jay and I have been friends for 25 plus. And, you know, I wouldn't take anything for that friendship. And at a show like this, or the National, I see these friends that I've made over the years once or twice a year, and we just have the best time. Whether they're from Oklahoma, California, or whatever. We have this in common.
Yes.
And I've known fantastic breeders that were carpenters or electricians or school teachers or doctors or you know, anything. You know, I owned an ink company. I was an ink salesman. And so the one thing I've loved about this hobby is the diversity of people that you meet, you know, and the different walks of life.
Wow.
It's a great experience.
All right. So, here at this show, what's the inside scoop? What bird will win this year's show in the Old German Owls?
It's hard to say. We have a lot of parity. I've enjoyed a lot of success at this show, but it gets tougher and tougher every year. Fortunately, there've been a lot of good birds spread around, and it's getting to the point now where it's the little fine tuning now that has to be done, and that's a good thing. We want it to be competitive.
Yes.
As much as I love to win, I know that the winning has to be spread around. It's good for the hobby. It makes all of us work harder and try harder. So this year, I'd say it's over the way. You know, I hope. My theory is always I might not win, but I want them to know I was there.
Yes. That is true. That is true. So, any closing comments you would have to give to anyone out there watching from maybe another country or getting started or?
Well, obviously, the pigeon hobby has meant. I can't even put into words what it's meant to me personally. The friends that I've made over the years and the satisfaction I've had from breeding them and showing them. I've had some success. I've certainly had my share of losses, but it's a wonderful hobby. It's a great hobby for young people. It teaches them about the nature and how it works, and the ups and the downs and all that. But the friendships mean the most, and just the fun of getting together and having a good time. It's getting harder to raise pigeons now. We have neighborhoods that have restrictions on outside buildings or, you know, the type of pets you can have. And so we're faced with that challenge. But it's such a great hobby, and I can't put it in words what it's meant to me. The Old German Hound, to me, at this point in time, is almost a perfect breed. They're beautiful to look at. They've got great personalities. They're good, decent to good parents, and we have a great club. We've got a lot of fun around. We like to kid and cut up, and it's something that anybody should consider doing. Breed and the hobby.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Always.
And if you're interested, the Old German Owl website is www.ogoc.org. You can go to their website. You can join the club. You can also purchase membership there, the club bands that you would need, and all that from the website right there. So Thank you all. I hope you guys enjoyed this segment of CoopCast, and we will have another one coming up soon. Thank you.